Hello, welcome to another edition of Kappa Comparison Picks. I'm Rand, and today I will be giving you the Kappa Comparison Picks for the early prelim fights for UFC Vegas 58. By the way, happy 4th of July, Independence Day today, for those of my viewers stateside in the United States. Go on, Winston. So before I get into this card, I do want to reflect on how I did on Saturday night for UFC 276. I didn't do that bad. I came out plus money when it was all said and done. At least on Bet Online I did. I did lose a little bit on DraftKings. Like I said, I have 5 books and I make different bets in each book. But I'm definitely plus more money than I lost. So that's all it comes back down to. But I'm going to go over the fights real quick. These aren't in the order. The order got switched just a little bit for some of the prelim fights. But I will go over the order I have written down. Start out wrong. And I had picked Jessica Rose Clark to beat Julia Stoliarenko. But I did, in my breakdown, if you want to go back and watch it last week, I said, careful that armbar. Stoliarenko can pop that armbar out anywhere. That's her go-to move. And Jessica Rose Clark has recency, just got beat by an armbar by Stephanie Edgar. So I'm like, be cautious of that. But I thought Stoliarenko was going to outvolume her and outstrike her. And you know what? When she came out, she did rock her a little bit, got her wobbled. And I thought, I was like, oh yeah, this is looking my way. But then when it got to the ground, Jessica Rose Clark had no idea what she was doing down there. And Stoliarenko made that evident by taking her arm home. And she hurt it too. I don't know exactly what happened there, but she did hurt that arm. She didn't tap early either. She just kept cranking until the ref tapped her. She's like, all right, I'll finally let it up. So I was wrong there. And then then I got the fight correct for Macy Barber. I did say by decision there, and she took out Jessica I by decision. It was a pretty clear victory for me. I gave her like 30-27, and Jessica I did as I predicted last week. I said, you know what? I think Jessica I is going to leave her gloves in the ring. What happened? She did. Yes, two of two on retirement predictions last week. I'll get to the other one in a little bit. Unfortunately, I picked Brad Tavares. I thought he was just going to have the more veteran savvy, and man, Dricus he fought after he was just ballistic the whole fight, putting on heavy pressure, going with every punch was loaded up and dropping bombs. Brad Tavares, though, you got to give him credit. He didn't go down. He withstood it all. But Dricus, and I'm like, his cardio's got to go because he was giving it his all every minute of that fight, breathing full mouth open, gaping, breathe. But still, Dricus Duplessis did manage to get decision victory there because of his, 3-punch bang combos that were landing. Brad Tavares, he should have went with the game plan and tried to get it down to the feet. I did give Brad Tavares like one of those rounds, but yeah, Dricus did win. He outpunched him. I think I gave Brad maybe round 1 or 2. One of those, I forget exactly, but still, Dricus Duplessis came out victorious, winning a decision there. So my first show sheet, I went bad, 1 and 2, 1 green and 2 wrong. So that parlay didn't cash in. Then keep going on. Next we had Andre Muniz taking on Uriah Hall. I picked him by submission, unfortunately, because Uriah Hall yet to be submitted. He has yet to be submitted, and he's keeping that thing going on. But he did lose. Andre Muniz did get decision victory there. I got that one correct. Then my second retirement prediction, I picked Jim Miller to beat Donald Cerrone. I said Donald Cerrone, his head is not going to be into it. He is now an actor. And what did he do when he retired after he was all set? He threw his gloves in his hat and told Joe Rogan, you know, I just don't love it anymore. I'm a movie star now. I want to make movies. And that's almost exactly what I said he was going to say. I said, you know what? Donald Cerrone is going to lose this because his head's not into it. He doesn't love it anymore. And he's going to go into making more movies. Terror on the Prairie. I'm going to watch that. I think it's on Hulu or something. But I will watch it. Donald Cerrone, thank you for a very good career. Best wishes in your Hollywood movie star ambitions. But Jim Miller, man, I thought he was gonna do like a, you know, ground and pound. I thought he was gonna get it, but he managed to get the submission round 2. Yeah, he did finish round 2, but it was by submission. I had him by TKO, but nevertheless, I won that fight. Then I went out on a limb and I was taking Gabe Green because of the preparation for that. Gabe Green was throughout his whole camp training with guys that are way taller than him, like 6'5" guys, and I was like, I think he might be ready for Ian Gary. Ian Gary, to me, still wasn't really proven yet, and I thought Gabe Green might get, you know, Gabe Green was just decorated with a brown belt in the camp that he had training for this. So I thought he might go to the ground, use that a little bit more, but he did not, which was unfortunate. Man, I can't stand when BJJ practitioners do not use BJJ. I can't stand it when they try to stand a strike with guys that are 5 inches taller than them. What are you thinking? There's piss poor planning there. But Ian Gary did get decision victory there over Gabe Green. I had picked Gabe Green by submission, went out on a little flyer. That was one of my underdog picks. Him and Brad Tavares were underdog picks on that. But yeah, Ian Gary got the decision victory there. So that's another one wrong for me. Then here comes some winners. Next I had Brian Barberena. Bam Bam. I thought Robbie Lawler was going to withstand the onslaught and go. Brian Barberena, all camp was saying, this is going to be the summer slugfest, selling t-shirts and everything. Lawler versus Barberena, summer slugfest. And he made sure that was a slugfest. Got the TKO victory there over Robbie Lawler. I picked him to win. I picked Brian Barberena to win by decision, but I'll still take a green. I'll still take the win, but he did end up doing it by TKO against Robbie Lawler. Then, Jalen Turner. Boo! Prop green. This one, boy, I picked Jalen Turner by submission. There it is. I had to go over it with green. Over Brad Rydell. I told you, Jalen Turner, how are you going to overcome that 8-inch height and 4-inch reach advantage? At 155, he should dominate that division. There's nobody that can even, and he's just skilled. I told you in his camp, that Millennia MMA, he was just hurting people, like crumbling them with body shots during camp. And he was putting his work in at RVCA, all that. Where Brad Rydell was just posing for pictures with Volk and Izzy. But anyway, not to take anything from Brad Rydell, but I did call it. Jalen Turner, phenomenal submission victory there. I loved it. Then we had Sean O'Malley and Pedro Munoz. I had picked Sean O'Malley on Tapology, but I had to bet Pedro Munoz hard. I put him in a bunch of parlays. I straight bet him a couple times because he was like I got him at plus 275. Fantastic. Check out the live stream I did with Manny from MMA Fight Club. Throughout that, I made the live bet for Pedro Munoz in that live stream. And I was like, Pedro Munoz, I got a feeling, is going to upset everybody's parlays and beat Sean O'Malley. However, eye poke. It went to a no contest draw because of an eye poke. Sean O'Malley got him in the eye. But I will tell you what, that happened like round 2. But I tell you what, Pedro Munoz, I would give him round 1. I think he won round 1 on my scorecards, and I believe probably on the judges' scorecards. He had won round 1, and I think if he didn't get poked in the eye, I think he might have made his way to a decision victory. But nevertheless, that fight was called a no contest draw, so all the bets were kicked back. All the money that I threw on him was refunded, all the straight bets anyway. And then the parlay pieces, that just went from a 3-legger to a 2-legger, taking that out. So that was one that I did cash a lot. I had Turner, Barberina, and Munoz, but Munoz, and a couple of them I had O'Malley. I did have O'Malley in some parlays. I played both sides of that fight, but I did ended up. That was my good sheet. Ended up winning. I made a bunch of plus money on that, so I went heavy on that page. Then finally, wrap it all up, I ended up not good. Sean Strickland, what a disappointment. In my head, I was like, if he stays standing up, he's definitely gonna lose. And I said that in the live stream, I said that in the Cap Comparison Pick video, I said it over and over and over, but I told myself, he's gotta be too smart for, even in the media day, one of the reporters like, who's the best striker here? And he said Alex Pereira. He's like, he slept him twice. So why are you gonna stand with the guy you just said was the best striker? And not even movement, stand straight up, just like the straight line, like Vlad said, straight line target on kickboxers, without any of this, and just unbelievable. Didn't even go for a takedown. Very disappointing. Sean Strickland, unreal. But Alex Pereira, knockout round 1, as it should be. Good. Teach that boy a lesson, Sean Strickland. Unfortunate, but I did pick Sean Strickland. I thought he was going to use some wrestling. I was like, if Andreas Michailidis could take him down, Sean Strickland take him down. But nonetheless, he didn't even try. Pereira got the KO victory there, round 1, made it look easy against a standing up straight. No movement, flat on his feet, Sean Strickland. Unbelievable. Then Volkanovski, I also picked Max Holloway to win. I thought Holloway was going to come in with a different game plan, use some extreme volume, and maybe try to work in some Gracie. He's a Gracie techniques from camp in Hawaii. I thought he might try to work in a little bit of grappling, a little bit of maybe wrestling and BJJ. None of that. Just Alexander Volkanovski, 5 rounds, beat him every single round. I think it was like 50-45. And now, what happens now with Max Holloway? He's got I don't know, he's going to try to build himself back up. I don't know if they're going to, I mean, nobody's cool with that. Nobody's cool with that. Volkanovski, who's going to, Ilya Tupuria, put him up against Volkanovski. Can you, somebody with a fire under his ass, somebody that can do it, and I think Topuria might be, I don't know, that was top of my head, but that's who I would like to see that fight. But anyway, congratulations to Alexander Volkanovski for winning 3 out of 3 against Max Holloway. Unbelievable. Not unbelievable, that's just disappointing. And finally, I did predict Izzy to beat Jared Cannonier by decision. I said it's going to be a boring kind of fight. He's going to outpoint him and win every single round, which he did in the fashion as I said. He was going to outstrike him, get the volume, and win 5 rounds to 0 rounds, winning once again 50-45 on the judges' scorecard, winning decisions. So overall, I ended my night 6-5 and that one no contest with Sean O'Malley, but my Bet Online account did triple. My balance tripled, so I made fine there. Bet US, that doubled. DraftKings, bam, bam, bam. Points bet, bam, bam, bam. And FanDuel, FanDuel, I kind of broke even. But my main one is that I use. My main book that I use, Bet Online, is where I put the majority of my bets. That is the one that tripled, and that's the one that I count. So overall, a green weekend there. So I took way too much time doing that recap, but I'm going to spit this out real quick and real easy. UFC Vegas 58 early prelims. We're going to open up this show with the bantamweight fight between Ronnie Lawrence, the Heat, Ronnie Lawrence, and Saidyokub Kakhramonov. Kakhramonov comes in as a slight underdog, plus 118. The line did move from plus 105 to 118. Ronnie Lawrence, slight favorite. It did move a little bit. Monies came in on Ronnie Lawrence. It was a minus 125. It's now a minus 138, making him a little bit more unattractive for the bettors here. Ronnie Lawrence comes in with only one loss. That loss is to Steve Garcia back in the day against him in Bellator. So 8-1 for Ronnie Lawrence. Kakhramonov, 9-2. His last loss was to Pike Vargas in WXC via flying knee, round 3. So let's talk about Ronnie Lawrence first, since he is the favorite here. He's 30 years old to Kakhramonov's 26. The Heat, Ronnie Lawrence coming off a win against Mana Martinez. Very good win. I had actually picked Mana Martinez to win that fight, but Ronnie Lawrence did use better wrestling there, and he's a phenomenal wrestler, Ronnie Lawrence, and got the unanimous decision over Mana Martinez. Before that, he has a ground and pound round 3 in his UFC debut against Vince Cachero. Ground and pound round 3 win there. Prior to that, he was in the Contender Series. He beat Jose Johnson by unanimous decision. Jose Johnson does have a UFC fight lined up. I forget against who, but he does have one lined up. I knew it too. It's right at the tip of my tongue, but I just can't think of it. I didn't write it down. Before that, he was at LFA, where he got unanimous decision against Garrett Armfield. And before that, Hard Rock MMA, the regional scene out of Kentucky. He had the fight was stopped via strikes over Michael Ricketts in round 1. So Ronnie Lawrence looking phenomenal, straight win streak. But before a 5-fight win streak, before that was his loss to Steve Garcia in Bellator by unanimous decisions. And Steve Garcia now a UFC fighter, even though he is coming off a recent loss too, like 2 weeks ago I think Steve Garcia lost. But anyway, Ronnie Lawrence fighting out of Sanford MMA with Henry Hooft and company. Good facility down there for him. Saeed Kakhramonov. He comes in off a nice UFC debut win over Trevin Jones via guillotine round 3. Before that, he was in CFFC, which stands for Cage Fury Fighting Championships, out of Philadelphia, where he beat Tyson Lin, TKO round 2. Before that, HFC, he beat Askar. That's HFC is the Indiana regional scene, but Askar now I think is a Bellator fighter. Askar beat him by a knockout punch, 39 seconds of round 1. Very good Kakhramonov. And before that was his loss to Pike Vargas, flying knee, like I mentioned. That was the WXC Michigan regional scene. And before that, he beat this guy named Georgi Kudakashvili by rear naked choke round 1. That was in Ring of Combat, which is out of Atlantic City, New Jersey, regional scene down there. So Saidyokub of Kakhramonov, 4-1 in his last 5. That one loss coming to Pike Vargas, so not that bad for him. He's training out of Spokane, Washington, out of a place called Warrior Camp with Terrence McKinney, of all people. Terrence McKinney will be cage side for Saidyokub, Kakhramonov, the Uzbekistani. Terrence McKinney and Kakhramonov, very good friends from what I see. They're chummy buddy right on Instagram. So good for him, Saeed. Let's see what the cappers have to say in this very close fight. It's very hard to pick this one. Actually, it's hard to pick all 3 of these, but I do have my picks, and I'm going to stick with them. Like, fix that 3. It looked like my son wrote it. No offense, Brandon.
What?
Nothing. Your penmanship's horrible. You'll admit that, though. Geniuses do have bad penmanship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so taking the favorite in Ronnie Lawrence, we've got Johnny K. Johnny K is taking Ronnie Lawrence by decision here. Johnny K picks. By the way, all these cappers, their links will be in the description. I urge you check them all out. Johnny K is fantastic. as well as AJ DeVito from MMA Experts. MMA Experts, AJ is taking Kakhramonov by decision. Ooh, close tie, right? We've got Greedo Plays. Greedo, he's usually does it's Greedo Plays because he usually does gaming videos, like he does seasons of sports teams, but he also does breakdowns for UFC events, and he's fantastic at it. He's spot on. Check him out. Then we got the interviewer extraordinaire, James Lynch. James Lynch on the side of Kakhramonov. James Lynch was live at UFC 276. Fantastic. I think he couldn't get an interview with Ronnie Lawrence, but he did try a few times. Just their schedules didn't match up. He never got the interview there. But James Lynch, he does have a whole playlist of every interview and every interviewee that is on this fight card. I urge you guys check that out for a little in-depth from the interviewee's mouth, how they think he's going to do in the fights. I get a lot of info off James Lynch's interviews. And finally, we've got Dev the Dude and Cell the Red. And you know what? They rarely disagree, and in this case they are. Cell is on the side of Ronnie Lawrence all day, he says. Ronnie Lawrence all day. He's taking him by decision. Dev put his pick up. He said Saidyokub Kakhramonov submission round 2 is because he puts his Tapology pick right up on there, and that's what he put. However, he did say, I'm going to see what they look like in face-offs. I'm not confident with that pick. I might flip my pick. Because Cell is confident with his, he said all day Ronnie Lawrence. So Dev, I think Cell might be able to convince him to switch his pick. He'll put it in my comments if he does switch it. That's good. Cell's good, or Dev the Dude is definitely good for that. He's very active on social media. If you don't know Dev the Dude, sometimes I gotta, he puts so many posts on Instagram that sometimes I gotta just put the mute button just for a little while. Dev, don't take offense, but like today, blowing it up when I was doing the research for this fight, for these fights, he had like a thread, and there's like, I don't know, 6 people on it, just bing, 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 every 30 seconds there was a ding, ding, ding. I was like, cut it out. Busy, Dev. But anyway, so this is a tie, and I got to lean with the wrestler here. I'm sure Kakhramonov is he's live. Like I said, these fights, all 3 of these fights are very close. It could go either way, but I'm going to lean toward the wrestling prowess of Ronnie Lawrence. And I think he's faced better competition and beat better competition. Mana Martinez, Vince Cachero, very good fighters, and he managed to defeat both of them. Vince Cachero took him out ground pound round 3. Where Saidyokub beat Tresean Jones, which he's decent. He's good. He's not horrible, but I just like the better competition for Ronnie Lawrence, and I'm going with leaning him via the wrestling, so that's my pick. And he's at Sanford, fantastic. But Kakhramonov training with Terrence McKinney, fantastic fighter there too. So I don't know, man. This could go either way, but I am taking Ronnie Lawrence to get it by decision. I think he's going to have more control time, and he can bang significant strikes. He's got power behind his punches. He can stand and strike, so give him that as well. Take Ronnie Lawrence. Moving on. Next, we have the light heavyweight fight between the African Savage, Kennedy Nzechukwu, taking on Baby K, Karl Roberson. Interesting fight here. Karl Roberson is the slight underdog, minus 105. These lines did not move at all since I saw them open. And Nzechukwu is a minus 115, slight favorite there. Let's talk about Kennedy first. Kennedy Nzechukwu, fighting out of Fortis MMA, specifically with Charles Bird. And he practices his BJJ with Zach Ryan, who is a Fortis MMA black belt coach. BJJ coach, I do believe. Nzechukwu will have a huge 9-inch reach advantage. Phenomenal. Blows my mind, right? And he'll have 4-inch height advantage. So Nzechukwu, the bigger boy here, taller, bigger reach. He's gonna, he's gonna. Karl Roberson's gonna be small compared to this guy. When they face off, Karl Roberson's gonna have to crank his neck a little bit and look up to him, which is always a big red flag for me anyway. Then we've got. Oh, by the way, my I think I did a tall person parlay last week with Ian Gary. As I mentioned, novelty parlay. I did. Oh yeah, and I won it. Ian Gary, O'Malley. That fight was canceled. I told you, or that fight was a no contest. And Jalen Turner, Ian Gary, Jalen Turner, both cashed out. So I did as well with that. Cha-ching. Anyway, back to this. Kennedy Nzechukwu was coming off a couple losses. He lost to Negumereanu by split decision. A couple people I've heard are saying that was kind of could have went the other way, which one of the judges felt the same. So rightfully so, split decisions could, could be an argument both ways. I had picked Negumereanu to win that, and so I'm not complaining about it. I cashed that in. Before that, Da Un Jung took care of him by standing elbows round one. That was a bad loss. He probably does not even want mentioned Kennedy Nzechukwu, but Da Un Jung, the Korean light heavyweight, I'm a big fan of Da Un Jung, so of course I took him there as well. Unfortunately, I did take Danilo Marquez to beat Kennedy Nzechukwu. I don't know why I was fading Kennedy so much, but Kennedy beat him standing TKO round 3. And you know why I was fading Kennedy? Because I took him. No, I took Carlos Ulberg against Kennedy Nzechukwu back in the day, and Carlos Ulberg gassed out round 1. Kennedy Nzechukwu took everything that Carlos Ulberg could give him in round 1, came back and shocked the world with a. No, actually, it was he went to round 3, and he beat Carlos Ulberg by hooks in round 3, and after that, I'm like, man, if. From now on, I'm going to fade Kennedy, but I shouldn't have. Danilo Marquez got beat by him. And before the Carlos Ulberg fight, he beat Darko Stosic, so pretty decent win there. So Kennedy Nzechukwu, he's 3-2 in his last 5, but coming off 2 back-to-back losses. Let's talk about Karl Roberson. Karl Roberson's coming off a bad loss to Khalil Rountree. Hooks to a body kick round 2. I did pick Khalil Rountree. Told you he's the stronger fighter there, and Karl Roberson would have to somehow get it to wrestling, but it's hard to take down Khalil Rountree. He's very well rounded. Not really, he's more of a striker. But anyway, Khalil Rountree took him out round 2. Before that, he lost to Brendan Allen. Heel hook, round 2. Heel hook, that's, I guess once you get caught in that, you're not getting out if it's performed the right way, right? Before that, he lost to Marvin Vettori, rear naked choke, round 1. Not a good look. It was the end of round 1, like 4 minutes and 50-something seconds. So if he could have held on just for less than 10 seconds more, he might have survived to round 2. But Marvin Vettori beat him. I had the Italian Dream in that fight. Before that, he beat Roman Kopylov, rear naked choke, round 3. Kopylov, And before that, Wellington Turman by split decision. I'm not a fan of Wellington Turman, so there. He used to train out of Killer Bee Combat Sports. Now he is definitely training out of Glory MMA with James Krause. Good move for Karl Roberson going over to Glory. Glory will train you at what you're weak at. They find the holes in your game and try to fill those holes in. So hopefully Karl Roberson's been working on a little bit of wrestling, because that's his path to victory against this giant, Kennedy, the African Savage Nzechukwu, who will have the huge height and huge 9-inch reach advantage. He can do the thing like you do to little kids, where you put your hand on the forehead and they're swinging and they can't even reach you. Kennedy Nzechukwu can do this in real life to Karl Roberson. It's just crazy. But I'd like to add Kennedy Nzechukwu. I checked out his Instagram. Super religious guy. I did not realize it. Like like all his posts have something about Jesus and God. God is great. I just saying that's very interesting there. I didn't realize that. But let's see what the Cappers have to say in this interesting light heavyweight fight between Karl Roberson and Kennedy Nzechukwu. Taking the favorite in Nzechukwu, we've got Dev and Sal. They're in agreement here, and both of them say by KO. Dev says KO by round 1. Sal didn't specify the round, but he is also predicting a KO there. Then we've got Brito also saying by KO. He said round 2 because Kennedy is a slow starter. He doesn't get going till round 2, and that's when, and he's proven that time and time again. Round 1, he just goes out there and I think he's starting to get his cogs spinning. He's checking the reach. He's checking his ring awareness or his cage awareness, where the fight's going to be and everything. And he's more like feeling the guy out, kind of. That's how I see it. Because in round 2 and 3, Kennedy, that's when he starts to put it on. It's like he's conserving his energy round 1. He's a slow starter. Then Johnny K also saying KO. Also round 2. See, I'm not the only guy in the camp thinking that Nzechukwu was a slow starter. But also we've got AJ DeVito, MMA experts, saying by decision for Nzechukwu. I suppose if he keeps it at range, he can strike and outpoint the guy. Karl Roberson, I don't know how strong and sturdy his durability, his chin is, but I guess AJ DeVito is saying he will be able to withstand it and stay till decision victory. But we have a contrarian picker. We've got James Lynch leaning on the side of Karl Roberson. He's not the most confident with this pick, but he will go there. He didn't say method, but he says and he's right. The resume, the strength of past fighters is definitely on the side of Karl Roberson. He has faced a lot of stronger opposition than Kennedy Nzechukwu. And you can't, all last 3 losses, you really can't take that away from Marvin Vettori, Brendan Allen, Khalil Roundtree. Come on. All 3 of them, I think, would be able to beat Kennedy Nzechukwu. That's the thing. So, but Karl Roberson, can he? I don't think so. I don't think he can, and that's why I'm going to have to side with the African Savage. For the first time in my life, I've always gone opposite. I've always faded him because he's a slow starter. I don't like how he just, his game plan is absorb your best shots he can in round 1. Didn't work for him against Dawoon Jug, did it? But I'm saying he goes out there to get kind of like tire his opponent out in round 1. I guess he's playing feel it out, playing how's this, but you got to change that game plan, Kennedy. Why you got all your supporters sweating in round 1? See if you can absorb all the strength, all the strong shots, and then in round 2 and round 3 come back with your own. Just turn it down a little bit closer, quicker, but I do think he will be able to finish Karl Roberson. So I'm going to say KO, TKO, round 3. Yep, Roberson will last 2 rounds, and I think that's where he comes on strong round 3 to finish Karl Roberson. Moving on, finally to wrap this show up, I've got Cody Brundage taking on Tresean Gore, Mr. Vicious. Tresean Gore is the slight favorite here, minus 125, opened up minus 115. Cody Brundage was a minus 105. He is now plus money, plus 105 underdog for Cody Brundage. So, as I like to do, let's start out with discussing the favorite here in Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore, Mr. Vicious, is coming off a loss to Brian Battle, unanimous decision. That was a Brian Battle out of the Ultimate Fighter house where Tresean Gore, before fighting Brian Battle, had success in the Ultimate Fighter house. He beat Ryan Newman by unanimous decision, and he won against Gilbert Urbina, TKO round 2. Unfortunately, Tresean Gore did take an injury after that, so he could not go to the finals to fight against, this was like, I think he was supposed to fight Brian Battle in the tough finals. So anyway, he got straight to the UFC, and Brian Battle did beat him there by unanimous decision in UFC debut for both them. Before the Ultimate Fighter, though, he did fight an Alabama regional scene called Alabama Fighting Championships, AFC, where he beat some bum named Christian Echols by choke in round 1. I don't mean to say bum, but the guy he's a can. He's like, I don't know, 0-0 or something. And before that, he was in NFC, which is a Georgia regional. They love, what's his name? They love the other Georgian fighter that just, Cody Durden. They loved Cody Durden at NFC, the NFC regional. I think he was on the same card as Tresean Shore, where Tresean Gore beat LJ Jones, Dr. Stoppage round 2. LJ Jones, 1-0-0 fighter. So both cans, has yet to prove anything except for his Ultimate Fighter house is probably where his best wins have happened. He is training out of 3 different. Instagram shows 3 different facilities. He got a little bit of ATT training with Benson Henderson, Smooth Benson Henderson. That was a few weeks ago, but still, it's in there. He's got some fight ready training. I forgot who exactly, but I remember there was a Instagram post saying thank you the folks at Fight Ready for, and this is all during this camp. And finally, MMA Lab, where he trained with Jared Cannonier. And I don't know if that was more for Cannonier or more for him, but they did train together, MMA Lab. So 3 different, Tapology has them listed, no facility, no affiliation, but definitely if you go to Instagram, ATT, American Top Team, MMA Lab, and a little bit of Fight Ready all in there. Tresean Gore, another religious supporting guy. Every post in a hashtag, Jesus is great, hashtag God is great. You know, God is great, God is good, and we thank him for our food, amen. But anyway, Tresean Gore, Mr. Vicious, is the favorite in this fight. Let's see what the Cappers have to say in this very interesting middleweight showdown between these 2 fights. Let me talk about Cody Brundage first. Cody Brundage. He's married to Amanda Brundage. Another, she's a UFC, I think she's UFC. She's definitely a female fighter. I want to say I didn't check out her shirt off or Tapology or anything, but I know she's a fighter for sure. He has been known to train with Anthony Smith and Dustin Jacoby. He's out of Factory X Muay Thai. Instagram shows him with the coach/owner Mark Montoyo, plenty enough, and he shows him specifically in training with Austin Osmosis Jones. I think Austin Osmosis Jones is in like one of the lesser promotions. I want to maybe say LFA, PFL, Belt. I forget. I didn't check him out either, but definitely representing Factory X Muay Thai out of Inglewood, Colorado for Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage coming off a win against Dolce Lungiambula. Dolce Lungiambula was winning on the feet until he come in with his head down, neck out, and Cody Brundage jumped on a guillotine, snapping that neck up and getting the win there in the round 1 against Dolce. Before that, he took a loss in his UFC debut to Nick Maximov. That is from the Nick Maximov, the wrestler from the Nick Diaz Army over there, the Diaz brothers. That was UFC debut. Nick Maximov beat him by unanimous decision in his UFC debut. I had picked Cody Brundage for an upset too, because he was coming in as a decent sized underdog. Before that, he was in the LFA where he beat Joseph Cropshot by arm triangle round 3 in the LFA. He took a loss to William Knight in the Contender Series. Elbows to ground and pound round 1. Not a good look there, but William Knight is a beast, as you guys know. Look at him, he's a physical specimen. And prior to that, he was in Lights Out Championships. That's a regional scene out of Michigan, where he beat Eric Lozano, arm triangle round 1. He does like the arm triangle. He's used it twice for victories in his past 5 fights. Keep that in mind when he goes against Tresean Gore, the striker here. Okay? So, taking the favorite here in Tresean Gore, we've got James Lynch. Brandon, can you turn that down a little bit?
Okay.
By decision. Then we've got Johnny K. He's saying Tresean Gore will get the knockout. Okay, Johnny K. I can see that. AJ DeVito also agrees with you. AJ DeVito also said, from MMA Experts, also said by knockout. And finally, we've got, oh, not finally, but we also got, a Greedo, a contrarian picker. Greedo plays. And he's saying by decision for Cody Brundage. And now finally, Dev and Cell again. It's a rarity, but they are in disagreement here. Dev is going with Cody Brundage. Dev, the dude, is by going with Cody Brundage, and he thinks it's going to be a submission for Cody Brundage. Round 2. Interesting. I like that. And Cell is taking the other side. Cell, the red, and he thinks Tresean Gore by KO. Interesting. I can see, look at, it's either KO by, or Gore by, Tresean Gore by knockout, or is it going to be Brundage by decision or submission? As I pointed out in their last 5s, Cody Brundage does like that arm triangle choke. He's used it twice in his last 5 fights, and he's got the guillotine. He likes getting that neck. He's got the guillotine over Dolce Lumbiambula, another striker. I would say kind of similar to Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore, yet to really prove anything to me. He was like a standout in the Ultimate Fighter house. He was like the big favorite to win the whole thing, and he may have, had he gone to the finals, but he got hurt. But when he came out, he lost to Brian Battle in the same Ultimate Fighter house. So I guess, you know, so he hasn't yet to really tickle my fancy, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to take the plus money. I'm going to take the underdog here. And I think Cody Brundage will grab up a neck and get the submission. I have Cody Brundage by submission at plus money. There you go. So to recap, time check indeed, Nora. And I'm quite over, but I did have to recap the 276 card, so that's why I'm over. But anyway, to recap, I have Ronnie Lawrence winning a decision over Saidyokub Kakhramonov. Then I have Kennedy Nzechukwu getting a TKO knockout, round 3, late start. Hey baby, come on in. Look at the sun you got over Mima Pipa's pool. You've got some color in your face. Yeah, Nora had a great weekend at Mima Pipa's house. We had a barbecue yesterday, and she got to spend the night with her cousins and had a good old time. But anyway, back to this. I got Kennedy Nzechukwu winning by TKO. Told you he's going to start slow. He's going to, round 1, he's going to absorb the best Karl Baby K's got. Then he's going to, and feel him out, touch him up, conserve his cardio. Round 2, he's going to start bringing it on. Round 3 is when he's going to finish bringing it on and find his spot and knock out Karl Roberson. Unfortunately, I do like Karl Roberson, but hey, you got to go with the African Savage if you think he's going to win. He should here. Karl Roberson also has come over an incredible disadvantage on the tail of the tape, height and reach. 9-inch reach advantage for Nzechukwu. And finally, I've got Cody Brundage getting a submission over Tresean Gore. I think Gore, striker, I don't know if he can handle on the ground. I think Brian Battle, that's what Brian Battle did have over him, is a little bit of a ground game. Tresean Gore does land bombs, but I think Cody Brundage will be able to absorb some of those bombs and manage to use his wrestling, snatch up arm triangle or guillotine, snatch that neck somehow, cut off the carotid arteries, get the victory over Tresean Gore by submission. And there you have it. I already put in a 3-leg parlay. You parlay Brundage, Nzechukwu, and Ronnie Lawrence all together, comes out plus 560. I do believe that's what it was just straight before. I did it pre-making this because I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna find out what it is. So it's plus 560 for your parlay, those 3 guys. All 3 of these fights, as I mentioned earlier, could go either way, so I'm not confident with that, but I do as I say, and that's what I say. I think it's gonna happen this way. These are my props for the submission. Round 2 for Tapology purposes. I'm going to say round 2, Tresean Gore. Or maybe, you know what, maybe round 1. I'm not sure as of right now, but that is my pick. So there you have it. Gather the info. Place those bets and cash those tickets. I really appreciate you watching. Give me that thumbs up. Fill the comments with who you think is going to win these 3 fights. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day, and I will see you guys tomorrow with some more prelim picks from UFC Vegas 58. Good luck on your bets. See you next time. Thanks. Bye.